Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. It's Junk Journal Day. So every Wednesday I do a video to do with my junk journals, and the rest of the time my videos are stamping up. So I'm going to, but I do incorporate stamping up within my junk journals. There is some Stampin' Up products there. So I'm continuing with my Edith Holden journal, which I am making with a weekly challenge from Junk Journaling for Everyone. And I've been on holiday, so I had to do 2 challenges in one. So last week's challenge was spine dangles. I'm just unhooking mine. So I made that. Really simple. That was an earring. I straightened out the post. I had this little butterfly thing, so I've just bent the end of the earring over there, added a bulb pin. That's me dangle. I didn't want anything too fancy for my Edith Holden. I thought this would go quite well on it. I might find that when I've made it, I don't like it, but that was what I did. And then the week before, the week I was away, was envelopes. Well, actually, it was the week leading up to going away. I've put a little clip in there. So it was to make 2 envelopes. I've made 2, but I want to make another 2 for the other signature, rather than having 1 in each. I kind of like them to sort of mirror each other. So this is the first envelope that I made, and I've done lots of stamping. These are all Stamping Up stamps that I've used on there, and that is a book page from the Edith Holden book. Stamps, I made those I think in the last Edith Holden video I did, and there is some Tracy Fox labels there which I thought went really well. So that is quite simple. I haven't put anything in it actually, but I shall show you how I made this one. And then back here, this is the one that I was a bit ingenious with, I think. So got this envelope, and it is actually a double envelope. I designed it to go through a signature. So again, I've done stamping on it with Stamping Up stamps, created some stamps there, slightly different than what I've done before, some book pages, some Tracy labels, and then I created this at the back. Again, I got some fancy scissors from a charity shop that are sort of postage stamp. I mean, they're quite big shaped postage stamp. I thought that went quite nicely. And then that was just one of the the descriptions rather, from the book, and then a couple of Tracy labels, and then I just freehand cut that, and then I just made some little inserts. I haven't made one for the other, so I might do that. And I just did some stamping, and these leaves and that is a brand new stamp set that I've got, which I'm going to show you when I'm doing it. And so yes, that just folds around. So I'm going to show you how I made that. So let's make the envelope. So I used 1 piece of, this is a piece of A4 that this was cream, and I've tea stained it, and I think it gives it a look of Edith Holden paper. If you look there, that's a bit of the book page. I think it's a better match. And if I'd had this paper before I started this journal, I would have made it in that. So I think future journals that I do, I will be making it with this paper and not ordinary coffee stained paper. So now I did do a little bit of measuring to make this, and I have written it down. So took 1 piece, and I got my measurements here, so I'm gonna have to have my measurements here so I can see what I did. So I scored at 1/2 inch on each end of the envelope. So let's do 1/2 inch really sharp, yeah. And 1/2 inch. So that was that. And then on the short side, I'm going to score at 3. You don't have to measure, you could just fold. I'm just a measurer, and 6 1/4. So that bit's for the flap, that's bits I'm going to fold up. Okay, and then I also folded it in half. Rather than score it, I just folded it. Okay, so that's that. That was it, simply. So, oh, do you know, that's just going to annoy me. I'm going to unplug it for my charger, because otherwise you're going to swing all over the place. So there we are. If you didn't want to measure, then you don't have to. You could just fold it in half that way, fold up to a nice length and fold down, making sure there's a gap. So it's basically what I was doing. Right, now that I want on the inside, because that's where it didn't. Sometimes when you're dyeing a load of paper, it's easy to miss a bit, so that hides it. And then we've got the side bits to come in. I say you don't have to measure, but no harm done, I don't think, to do a bit of measuring. There we go. So that's that. So what you want to do is we want to cut down these bits down to here, and that's going to get folded up. You can either do the 2 sides down and leave the middle bit for folding, or you can do just leave the bottom one. I'm just going to leave the bottom one. I think it's quite easy. So I'm just going to slit off those corners there. I'm going to slit in there so I know how far to cut down to. So literally cutting down this edge like so. So that's where the glue's going to go, and it'll glue it down. So you're just cutting a slant in to that fold line there, and then we'll cut up. Big scissors are easier for doing this. You could use trimmer, but that works well. So that is that bit. So now we want to do our flap. So what I did was folded it in half so that I could cut them so they were the same. Get that over, because we've now done a bit of cutting. It might not be that even, so you could wait for your folding over to this stage. Not that it really matters, I'm just going to leave it. It doesn't actually matter. So what I did was I kind of cut these together, but I'm just pinching it. Now I've got to remember how I did it. Yeah, that's what I did. So I pinched it again. Let's open it up, it's easier. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again. Trouble is I make something, if I don't write down exactly what I did, I then forget. Fold it in half again so that we can make our flaps more or less the same. So I don't want to, I kind of left a bit down there Okay, so we're going to start here and we're going to come round in an arc, but leave a bit of a straight edge. So in one sort of swoop round with your scissors, kind of make a bit of an arc, like so. And that's our bit of an envelope folded down, like so. That one was slightly better, but it all works, doesn't it? It all works as far as I'm concerned. And then we want to slit that a bit because that bit's going to get sewn in to your signature and you want to be able to open it. So we do actually want on the middle here to come all the way down, like so. So now when that's sewn in, they will open up. So that is how I did that bit. And then it's up to you to ink or not to ink. That is the question, and personal preference. I love inking, so I went round all of it and inked. And the other thing I did was I did some circle punch outs there. So this is a 2 1/4 inch circle, and just so it's easier to get your bit of journaling out, eyeballing it for the middle. There we go. So that just makes it easier for getting out whatever's in. So then I'm taking soft suede, which is my ink of choice for going with Edith Holden because it is such a good match for the writing, the ink that she uses. I just use one of our little sponge daubers and I just go round. So I might speed this bit up. So that's them all inked up. So then I'm going to do a bit of stamping, and I've used a brand new set for that. So yesterday the brand new Stampin' Up catalogue launched, and I was so excited about some of the sets in there that are just perfect for junk journaling. That needs another. I used it this morning, so I'm just going to pop it over there for now. Yes, so we got these gorgeous leaves, and I just thought these 2, 3 even stamps, I thought excellent for creating like coffee stained looks, inky looks, making things look vintage. I love a bit of wood grain, and these leaves are just wonderful. And it comes with a die set as well, so you can stamp and cut out each of these leaves, and then we've got some skeleton leaves to complement it in a bit of a branch or a twig there. So I thought these would be excellent for my journal, with it being very foliagey, and Edith done a lot of nature drawings, so that's what I've used. So that is what I am going over this and stamping. You can see where I've used it on here, so you can see some of the leaves. So I just randomly stamped using this one and crumb cake over it. So I've got these 2 sort of textured ones. I've got another textured stamp set with an ink splot, which I need to retrieve. So there, how lovely. Just going over the page. I mean, it is already coffee stained, but this just sort of adds to it a bit. You're going to see bits of this on the inside. So then I might take a slightly darker one there and give it first and second generation stamping with this, just to build up. So this will be another one. So that's lovely, liking that. And then I'm going to put some of these leaves as well. Like that. Let's try this one. And then what I did was I took these leaves and they're sort of curved a bit, and I thought they'd look quite nice around the edge of the envelope flap. Then I went and covered it with doilies, but you know, that was what I thought. Oh, they might go down around this bit quite nice as well. And then I might go on the inside of the envelope flap as well. Just leaves blowing in the wind. That was what I was thinking. So I quite like that. I haven't used this. I have used that little one. I haven't used this one. I knew I hadn't used one. So stick that there. Using a lighter ink for that one, so it's much subtler. There. So that's my inking. So then it was putting, so I put a stamp on both of them, which I made using some of the book pages, and then I've used a scrap of book page, a Tracy label and some doily, and the same on the inside. So I've got things ready. So I went through my labels and picked out ones that I think would be potential for use. I went through some of my scraps. So as I'm using it, I'm developing scraps. So I've got a whole plastic wallet full of just scraps. So I might use some bits from that. I've got, looks like a moth, isn't it? And I found some smaller images, and I've picked these two out for the bigger envelope. So I'll put those over there for now. I thought those were quite nice little images. I've got some doilies. So I'm all ready. So, because I made my own stamps for these using my favourite punch from Stampin' Up. And so the punch makes quite large sized stamps, but you can make smaller ones. So you can punch that and then just pop that back in, and then take that edge off. And of course that's slightly the wrong way around actually, but that makes a smaller stamp. That's quite a nice stamp actually. Now I've done it, I like it. That's quite cool. So that really needs to be punched that way. It's going to annoy me, so I'm going to chuck that back in. Punch it that way. The perforations just went the wrong way. That's a cool stamp. So there's that way of using it to make smaller stamps, and that's what I did with these two. Took images, made smaller stamps, quite like that. Make a cool stamp. There we go, that's my stamp sorted. So then I want an image for the front, so I quite like that. It's just going on the back of that, but it's in that corner, not a lot going on, so I thought that would be okay. So I'm going to rip down, I'm going to use a little bit of water that kind of helps weaken the page. Well, it would if there was actually any water in it. So it just helps with the ripping, a bit like the paper napkin. It doesn't work as effectively as a paper napkin because obviously the paper's not as thin, but it does help a little bit with the ripping if it's a bit wet round there, because you are weakening it a bit. So now it is ripping a little bit easier. Than it would if it was bone dry. And of course you've got to do it before the paper dries out. So that's dried a bit now. So come down here a bit more with wet. Need to fill this up. It's been so warm, I think it's evaporated. There, that gives us a nice random rip. It's quite big. I'm going to have to cut it down a bit for that, but I think that'll work nicely. And I've still got quite a bit of the image there. So we're going to take these primroses and do the same thing. Thinking I could half that up there, and that would go along there. So we've got an image there, but then we've also got that image there, which might work on the inside. There, yeah, that'll work there, won't it? Marvellous, marvellous. Still need to take a bit off that, and then we've got another little this for on there. I'll just have to rip it. We've got the primrose. So what I did for the other was I took these scissors and cut around it with these scissors. And then on the front, I took a bit of doily and a bit of a label. So I kind of chose ones that might look like they were possibly in a dress. So like, that's quite a big one. So that could be in a dress. And a stamp. And a bit of a doily. Not too much of a doily. Don't want to completely cover up. Beautiful Edith Holden. I think that goes. And then on this side, kind of that as a stamp. Got that. Bit of a doily. Bit of that there. Voila. Yep. That's what I'm liking. And then I did have little labels on the inside. And I got ones here. Although Edith Holden was written in 1906, she would have been around in 1897. So I thought that might work. And that was quite nice. Quite liked having like a nod to it being a postage thing. There we go. I think we'll have those. And then I put some doily around the top edge. There. So that's that already. So now we have the task of doing all the inking. So I'll do that a bit speeded up. So that's them all inked up and distressed, and I do find the Edith Holden a bit bright, and so I like to distress her a little bit with a bit of ink. So I was using crumb cake there to do the distressing, and then I just added this stamp again to give it some age spots. So now I'm going to glue it all together, and the final thing I'll do with you is the postage stamps. So I'm going to glue them all together now, fast. So that's them all done. So we just need to do the postmark. So I get my squiggly line from Parisian Beauty and my little postmark from Butterfly Basic. Both these are retired. They will never leave my stash because I love them. So I'm going to use my soft suede, get it the right way up. And stick our postmark. It does say New York. But Edith could have received letters from friends in New York. And then I just put that over the top. And that over the top there. And that's how I finish those off. So that will be around a page. Yep, I'm liking how that turned out. So now we need the, oh, we need to stick these down. We need the inserts. So just to stick it down, we just need glue on that flap there and on that flap there. And you can put a bead of glue down the middle, although it will be sewn in. But as we don't know where the stitches are going to go at this stage, I'm going to glue it. So there we go. That is the envelope done. So then the inside is just folded piece there. So what did I measure? 5 inches by 6 inches to get them. So I got another piece of this cream dyed paper. I don't want that piece, got a bit of white on it. Well, it's not white, bit undyed, bit of cream. There we go. So when I dye my paper, I use a kitty litter tray, and so I'm going to cut this down to 6 inches, and then I can do 5 the other, so I can get 2 out of 1 sheet. And then I lay towels on my kitchen table, and I lay them on top of each other, which is how I get these lines here. So I've had two bits laying on top of each other to give us those there. And then I've got a slight stripey, because then I just finish them off in the oven, just really quick. I leave them to dry, air dry, and then it gets to a point where basically Ed's had enough. Wants to eat his dinner. So I then shove them in the oven, because the oven's usually going on anyway for dinner. So, oh, missed that. So yeah, I shove them in the oven just for finishing it off. And so I put them straight on the oven shelf, so you get these slight lines in. So I quite like it. I like you get a different effect every time. So fold them in half. So the 5 inches is the width, the 6 inches is the height, and just fold it in half. I like this trimmer because I can use the top there as a butt, so I know it's straight. I hope I'm recording. Yeah, I am. And then I used one of my chompers. I used a chomper. I used the scalloped. I just thought it'd give it a nice, I think it has a kind of a vintage look about it. Had this absolutely years when I first started making journals, because that's quite a nice top for a tag as well. Obviously don't do the bottom like it, if it's slightly smaller and then you put a hole. I liked that. I like it as a vintage photo mat. I actually bought it, that's when I bought it. I was making my mum and dad's 50th wedding anniversary scrapbook. God rest them. Gosh, that was a long time ago. There we go. So, and then I just decorate in the same way as I did the envelope. I just went round it with the same stamps. So I'll do that off camera. You don't need to see me do that. So that's them all done quite simply in the same way as I did before. So that's those finished. They slip inside the envelope there, and that's that one done. So get out of the way. So yeah, so quite straightforward. You can of course put anything you want in it, use different stamps, don't use any stamps, whatever you like. So yeah, that's my two versions, and that's the two versions on the inside. So on to the big envelope, and really simple if you've got one of these. So I went for the 3.5 inch by 6.5 inch. It tells you, so that's kind of the card size. It'll be slightly bigger than that because that's imagining you've got a card that size, so it will be slightly bigger. So it tells you 8.25 by 8.25, and you're going to score at 3 1/8. So you go here to 3 1/8, put your sheet there, punch and score. So now we've got a score line, and it's that score line that you match to this little tail here. It even says score guide. And then we do another punch, score, and again, once you've done your first punch, you're then using your score lines as your guide to go round. So that's that, and then they will fold over to form your envelope. And then up like so. And then on the back end, you have a corner punch. And you can round that one as well, but I actually like to fold it back rather than have it the point up. It's entirely up to you, but that's what I like to do. So I get my ruler and I'm looking at the 2 points there and there. Fold it up and then fold it back on itself, and that will give you a nice finish there for your envelope. And that is how the envelope is made. So that's quite simple. Or if you've got an envelope punch board. If you haven't got an envelope punch board, then you could use an actual envelope. I tea-dyed envelopes yesterday as well. So you could do a recycled, upcycled envelope. Bit of junk mail. And I'm gonna, right, before I do that, I'm gonna do a little bit of inking around these edges. And I'm not going to stick it down just yet because I'm going to do a little bit of stamping that comes down here a little bit more. There we go. So that's that ready. So what I did was measured this. So it is 6.5 inches by 4. So I had these pulled out as possibles. So my thoughts was we might have the blackberries on the front, and then that can come down on the flap somehow. So 6 inches by 6.5 inches by 4. So we want it to be slightly smaller than that. So if that is 6.5, so we'd come in, I want to rip on both sides. So we'll rip the top across. So it's 4. We'll come down a bit. Keeping it straight. Using my grid mat here to sort of help me. So there's 4, so we're going to go down to 3 3/4. So that gives us a little bit of a margin. So then we're just going to take bits off each side. I go to that side because I did put a stamp on it, and I don't mind that being covered up, but actually it doesn't really matter. That's quite nice to cover up with a stamp, to be fair. So we'll come down here. And then on this side, come down here. Just have it straight. There we go. So that's for the front. And then kind of looked at this to see where this could go. I want it to be coming down there. So put that on there, and then I took a pencil and drew round so we know where to come across. I'm going to go just inside where I've done that pencil line. Just inside on that side. And that gives us our flap there. Could have done it better, but that's what we're looking at. And then I did it much better on the other one, so much better. That's because I just forget what I do. I'm really good at forgetting, but that's fine. That is fine. So got a nice little description there that could go somewhere. So these need inking up, and everything needs a little bit of stamping and distressing, and I used my other favourite stamp sets for doing this. So I used just here, so I used this lovely script that you will have seen me use a lot, and that leaf there, and this one. So that has another sort of splodgy bits. I love that flower as well. And I've got a new splodgy in this one. Love that ink spot, and I used that quite a bit around this one. There. So this is a free stamp set. So Stampin' Up! Just brought out their new catalogue for Christmas, so it runs August to December, well, go into a little bit of January, and for August and September it's Celebration. So for every £45 you spend, you can choose something for free out of a Celebration brochure, and this is one of the stamp sets that's free. And I just looked at that and I thought that's great for junk journaling, and I thought that is almost a coffee cup stain, was my thoughts. I do have a stamp that is a coffee cup stain, so yeah, so I am going to do bits of stamping around this in the same way as I did before, so I'll speed it up. So that's the envelope done, so I just need to add the little bits of decoration. So that's one of the stamps I made before, so I'm going to stick that on because it's quite a big space, so I think that goes quite well. One of my little labels there, to whom, I'll just stick that on the front, and I had stuck a little label up there on the other one. I'm not sure that it needs it, this one. Although I do like threes. I do like threes. These have all been distressed, but this one hasn't. So rub a bit of that on. And I think that will work on there. So I'll glue those down. There, that's that. So then just a little bit of decoration on the back, and so I've pulled out another doily, and I've got, that is the description of what's on the front, so I thought that would be nice. So a bit of doily, so I'm just going to use my ruler again. I want it to go that way. So that'll go on there, and then that description, which I could use these scissors, couldn't I? And then I did have a little number. Could stick a number on there. What's the big number? There's a little number. Yeah. So I'll link round those and get them stuck on as well. So there they are done. So that's the original ones that I made, and these are the ones that I've just made with you. I haven't put anything inside these. I could make a similar insert to this. I've done that before. I might put a journaling card in there. I might leave it with nothing in, so it's ready to put memories in for whoever has this journal. Whoever. It'll probably be me. I can't see me wanting to sell it. But I might replicate this at some point. So these are now ready to insert in my journal. So that's the notebook. I think I thought I could put it around there. Makes that page quite busy. I am thinking I'm going to add pages to this anyway, so it'll probably end up being in a different place, and I thought that was a good place to put this envelope. There we go. So that's that done. That was the other thought. That does border on a pocket, so I think I'll probably end up putting some more pages in here, because we don't know what the challenge is going to set for us. So it is very exciting. Every Monday we kind of tune in eagerly to await the new challenge. This Monday, I don't know if it was late or we were all just like chomping at the bit, but we were all like, is the challenge up yet? I haven't seen it. I want to know what it is. So I haven't started this week's yet. I just, so I make it and then I film the following week. So my filming is always like a week behind, but this one is in fact 2 weeks behind because of my holiday. So yeah, that's where the envelope's going. So that's that. Looking at those, I'm not sure if I'm going to change my envelopes. I think the colour of this envelope fits better with that one. Yeah, I think that goes better. I don't think I'll distress that very much. Might go back over with a bit of distressing at some point. So there we have it. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you wish to join in, you just have to join the Facebook group, Junk Journaling for Everyone. Lots and lots of inspiration on there, lots and lots of freebies. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. Look out for more junk journaling videos every Wednesday on my channel. And the rest of the week, you'll find lovely Stampin' Up projects to inspire you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you like my channel, please share it with your friends. I'm almost at 5,000. Thank you. Bye.